12, and it starts out here. It says, "Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." Now, therefore, why do you think it starts out with therefore?
It's connecting it to the previous points.
Yeah, there was no chapters in the original.
So it's basically therefore is a reference to.
It's saying, because I said all this a minute ago, this is the conclusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can anybody summarize what the therefore might be then?
You see what it's there for, and obviously it's talking about all these people in their faith.
Okay.
The A-Bob's right on there.
Yeah.
That guy.
So we use the example by faith, by faith, by faith, and therefore, since that's the case, and we have so great a cloud of witnesses standing around us. Who are these witnesses standing around us?
That's a reference to
Abraham, Moses, all these people that are in chapter 11.
Okay, Bob, you're hotter than a firecracker tonight,
Oh,
Bob.
You're the go-to guy.
I'm highly impressed. And more.
Yeah.
And more, because it alluded here that there were a lot more other than just the examples that were given in the 11th chapter. Let us also lay aside every encumbrance and sin. What's an encumbrance? What would be the encumbrance that we're supposed to lay aside? Therefore, and let us lay aside these encumbrances. What would these encumbrances be?
The baggage of the laws.
Oh, yeah, the legalism.
You see, that's Bob, real good tonight. This could be the start to the best night you've ever had here. Okay.
Yes, Bob, this is like 3 in a row, and it was
Yeah.
like in 2 minutes.
You're perfect, don't
Yeah.
say anything else.
The encumbrances, we can't lose sight that the issue here in the book of Hebrews is making to these small band of Hebrew Christians that are having a tendency to go back into the old system that with all its encumbrances, let us lay those aside, and the sin which easily entangles us. The sin that easily entangles us. I wonder what the Sinless Perfection bunch would say about that verse.
Sure.
You see, in other words, a Sinless Perfection bunch, they basically say that Christians don't sin. This verse here would indicate that the sin so easily entangles us, would indicate that Christians do sin. Go ahead.
Wow. Yeah, my translation says beset, which is, I mean, when you say entangle and beset, those words sound a little different. But,
Well, how would you define beset versus entangle?
beset, I think of something that is like aside, you know, that you could or could not get entangled into.
A sin that what?
Well, a
Besets us?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds like
what-
something that can be on the
okay.
side of a road. As you're
Okay.
going straight. You can,
Well, how does a beset play out in real time?
well, you
Is
could-
it like driving down the road and passing a rock and just saying, oh, there's a rock that besets me?
That's how I think about it.
No, it
You know
gets
what
you
I
off
mean?
track.
You see what I mean?
Besetting is getting
No,
off
no,
track.
no, wait a second. That's not the point he's making.
Oh, I'm just-
Entangle would reaffirm that. He's trying now to use an argument that beset has some other meaning other than entangle.
Entangle
Okay,
sounds
so
like-
what would be the point of putting beset in here?
Come on, Dwayne, you're a King James only person.
I just said it.
What would be the point of putting beset in here?
Besides that, I got a New American Standard rated.
If you're driving down the road, passing the rocks, observing the rocks that beset something or other,
Yeah.
why reference if we're just going right on by them? Why even reference? What point is there to beset?
Oh, you're not going right by them.
I wanna ask Janet, cause I'm not clear.
Yeah.
Are you saying beset means not a negative thing? What are you saying?
No, no,
beset
no.
means?
It's
I'm
a
just saying
neutral.
that the word sounds different from entangled.
Well,
I think
well,
entangle
let me
is
ask you,
correct.
what does the word entangle mean?
Well, it means you're caught up in it.
You could get caught up in it.
Right.
Okay. Now, how do we differentiate between getting caught up in a sin and a sin that besets us? What is the besetting doing?
The besetting is not doing, it's there, but you,
It's there, so if it's just there and it's not doing anything, why even put it in the verse? What would be the significance of having it here in the verse?
Can anybody define the word beset?
Yeah, getting off track. It pulls you off when we're walking in the straight line following the Lord, a sin besets you off the track. It's like you're knocking a train off its train tracks. You're beset.
Right, that's how
which is if you look probably at the Greek definition of the word, both entanglement and beset are probably in the definition.
Yeah, and it says
So-
hinder. Also, another translation says hinder.
So what you're
there you
saying
go.
is that there is an actual sin that is getting you off track.
Yeah.
So you are sinning and getting you off track. Now, Daniel, that doesn't appear to be what you were saying. You were saying the sin besets, but the beset isn't really active in any way.
well, actually, I would have to say that that's not exactly what I was trying to explain.
Okay, can you
But
explain?
Like you said, it's like a train track, and you have the thing that kind of shifts you, and you go off in another direction.
What causes you to go off in the other direction?
Well, that would be those, the sin.
The sin.
Yeah.
So in other words, you can sin,
Uh-huh.
and that causes you to head off in a different direction.
Right.
Okay, is that what you're saying now? Okay, well, I think that's, we could use the word beset in that way. We could also use the word entangle. Go ahead, now we got,
Definition.
Go ahead.
To attack from all sides, harass or besiege.
Wow. All sides.
See, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
definitely entangle and hinder and all those things.
I think entangled sounds better. I mean, beset kind of sounds like something that's like inactive. Like it's just
Well,
right
the problem
there.
is it's
The
modern.
problem is you didn't know the definition of beset.
Yeah.
Once you know the definition of beset, now it's clear.
Yeah, thank you.
Amen.
but the point being is that it's occurring within the Christian. You don't have this sin that's hovering out there in outer space somewhere. You don't have sin without the actual person.
And I think it's referring to the nature that we all have. We have
Yeah.
to keep from allowing it to,
Yeah,
you know.
right. So we have to guard ourselves and be careful not to let these sins that we're so easily entangled in get us off track. You see. And now, what was the whole purpose of the book of Hebrews here?
Sure.
Trying to-
Christ is our sufficiency for all things.
It's trying
It's
to.
addressed to the Hebrews. It's not
Pardon?
addressed to Christians, it's addressed to Hebrews.
Where do you get that information?
Because of what it says in here is that the encumbrance has to do with the Levitical law that Hebrews is addressed here. And that the sin of unbelief that the Hebrews profess in Jesus Christ.
No, but you see, the thing that you're missing is numerous Bible studies that we had for months and months and months before you showed up.
I think you came about chapter 10.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. So what's going on here is that the book of Hebrews is written to Christians that happen to be Hebrews. And therefore, these Hebrews are having a tendency to get off track and go get back involved in their Hebrew culture. And the purpose of the book of Hebrews is to get them out of that thinking and direction and move them into the sufficiency of Christ and realize all that Christ is superior to all that the law has to offer. So there's no need to go back into the system which you have been delivered from. And so that's essentially what's going on there. So it says, which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Endurance is the very thing that these folks were not doing. What was the endurance factor? Where would the endurance factor be within these Hebrew Christians?
Putting up with rejection from other, from the
Okay, but
families
you're
and
you're
everything else.
jumping from a negative. Let's start from a positive rather than a
Oh,
negative.
endurance?
Where would the endurance factor be?
Sticking with Christ, walking straight the doctrine.
All right, that's great, but let me amplify it so you can see really what we're up against here. Because we can throw these terms around all we want, but they have, again, I'll say, real